Welcome back to English Flow. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever finished studying English, closed your notebook and thought, I worked hard today, so why do I still feel stuck? I used to ask myself that question all the time. Some days I studied for an hour, some days even longer. I watched YouTube videos, I learnt new vocabulary, I read grammar lessons. At the end of the day, I felt proud because I had spent a lot of time studying. But a few days later, something strange happened. I couldn't remember many of the words I had learnt. When I tried to speak, I still stopped in the middle of my sentences. I still translated everything in my head. I still felt nervous every time I opened my mouth. That confused me. I thought, if I'm studying so much, why isn't my English changing faster? For a while, I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't smart enough. Maybe I wasn't disciplined enough. Maybe English was simply too difficult for me. But after many months, I realized something important. The problem wasn't how much I studied. The problem was how I studied. That realization completely changed the way I learn English. Today, I want to tell you about that moment. Not because I think I've found the perfect method. I haven't. I'm still learning every day. But maybe my experience will help you avoid some of the mistakes I made. I thought more hours meant more progress. When I first became serious about English, I believed one thing. The more time I spent studying, the faster I would improve. It sounds logical, doesn't it? So that's exactly what I did. Whenever I had free time, I searched for another lesson, another vocabulary list, another grammar video, another podcast. I thought I was working hard, and I was, but I wasn't working wisely. One evening, I noticed something interesting. I had watched 3 different English videos, I had written 20 new words, I had read several grammar rules. Then I asked myself one simple question. What did I actually use today? The answer surprised me. Almost nothing. I had filled my brain with information, but I hadn't given my brain a chance to use any of it. That was the first time I understood the difference between studying English and using English. They're not the same thing. The notebook that taught me a lesson. I still remember opening one of my old notebooks. It was full. Every page looked neat. Hundreds of English words, definitions, examples. Everything looked organized. At first, I felt proud. Then I started reading. A few minutes later, I noticed something embarrassing. Some words looked completely new. I had written them myself, but I couldn't remember what they meant. I laughed. Then I felt disappointed. How could I forget words that I had spent so much time learning? The answer was simple. I had memorized them. I had never lived with them. Those words stayed inside my notebook. They never became part of my everyday English. That day taught me something I'll never forget. A notebook can store vocabulary. Only practice stores vocabulary in your memory. I started making English smaller. This might sound strange. The biggest improvement in my English happened when I stopped trying to do so much. Instead of learning 30 words, I learned 5. Instead of watching 5 videos, I watched 1. Instead of writing 2 pages of notes, I wrote 1 useful sentence. At first, I worried. Am I studying enough? It felt too easy, too simple. But something amazing happened. I actually remembered what I learned. Those 5 words stayed with me because I used them again and again and again. I realized that my brain didn't need more information, it needed more repetition. That changed everything. The habit that felt silly. A few months later, I started doing something I had never planned to do. I talked to myself. Not long conversations, just simple thoughts. While making breakfast, I would quietly say, "I'm making tea." "The water is hot. I need a spoon." If someone had seen me, they probably would have thought I was a little strange. Honestly, I felt strange too. But after a few weeks, something unexpected happened. Those simple words started appearing naturally when I spoke. I didn't need to translate them anymore. They were simply there, ready to use. That tiny habit taught me another lesson. Your brain remembers the English you live with, not only the English you study. I stopped waiting for the perfect study session. There was another mistake I made. I kept waiting for the perfect study session. I told myself, "Tonight I'll study for 2 hours." Then life happened. I became tired. Something else needed my attention. The 2-hour study session never happened. One day, I changed my goal completely. Instead of studying for hours, I promised myself something much smaller. Every day, I'll do something in English. Some days it was 10 minutes, some days 20, sometimes only one podcast while walking. It didn't seem like much, but after several months, I realized something. Those small sessions were adding up. I wasn't improving because of one amazing study day. I was improving because I almost never stopped. Consistency quietly did what motivation never could. Sometimes people ask me, "What's the biggest mistake you made while learning English?" I usually tell them everything we've talked about today, but there was one mistake that caused almost all the others, and when I finally understood it, my relationship with English completely changed. We'll talk about that next.
The biggest mistake I made wasn't choosing the wrong app. It wasn't using the wrong textbook. It wasn't even forgetting vocabulary. The biggest mistake was this. I thought learning English meant collecting information. I believed that if I learned enough grammar rules, enough vocabulary, and enough expressions, one day I would magically become a confident English speaker. But that's not how it works. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. You could read 10 books about bicycles, you could watch 100 videos, you could memorize every part of the bike. But until you actually get on it, you haven't learned to ride. English is the same. Reading helps, listening helps, watching videos helps, but sooner or later you have to use the language. That was a difficult lesson for me, because using English felt uncomfortable. Studying was safe, speaking wasn't. I started accepting bad English. This might be the hardest lesson I learned. For a long time, I wanted every sentence to sound perfect. If I wasn't sure about a word, I stopped talking. If I forgot a grammar rule, I stayed quiet. Silence became my habit. Then one day, I asked myself a simple question. How will I ever become good at speaking if I keep avoiding speaking? That question stayed with me. From that day on, I made a small promise. Every day, I would speak a little English. Not perfect English, just English. Sometimes my sentences were short. Sometimes they sounded awkward. Sometimes I repeated the same words because I didn't know better vocabulary. But I was speaking, and every time I spoke, my confidence grew just a little. Looking back, I think confidence is a reward. It comes after practice, not before it. I stopped being embarrassed by mistakes. I still remember recording my voice for the first time. I listened to it once, then I immediately wanted to delete it. I sounded slow. My pronunciation wasn't very clear. I paused too much. I even laughed at myself. But instead of deleting the recording, I kept it. A month later, I recorded another one, then another. After several months, I listened to the oldest recording again. This time, I smiled. Not because it was good, because it showed me how far I had come. Those recordings became proof that I was improving. Now, whenever I make a mistake, I remind myself of something. Every fluent speaker has made thousands of mistakes. The difference is that they didn't stop. Neither will I. The best advice I never received. If someone had given me one piece of advice on the first day I started learning English, I wish they had said this.
Don't try to impress people. Try to communicate. Those two goals are completely different. When you're trying to impress people, you choose difficult words, you worry about grammar, you become nervous. When you're trying to communicate, you focus on one thing, being understood. That changed my English completely. I stopped asking, what's the most advanced word? Instead, I asked, what's the clearest way to say this? Simple English became my friend, and strangely enough, speaking simply helped my English grow much faster. The day I realized I was actually improving. There wasn't a big celebration. There wasn't a certificate. There wasn't a moment when someone told me, "Congratulations, you're fluent now." Instead, it happened quietly. One afternoon, I was watching an English video. Halfway through, I suddenly realized something. I hadn't translated anything for several minutes. I was simply listening, understanding, enjoying the conversation. That moment lasted only a few seconds, but it meant a lot to me. It reminded me that progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's almost invisible, until one day you notice you're doing something that used to feel impossible. Today's learning moment. Today's word is improve. Improve means to become better than before. For example, my listening has improved a lot this year. I'm trying to improve my pronunciation. Pronunciation. Improve. The stress is on the second syllable. Notice something important. We don't ask, am I perfect? We ask, am I improving? That's a much healthier question. Today's English challenge. I'd like you to try something after this episode. Take your phone, open the voice recorder, speak English for exactly 1 minute. Talk about anything, your day, your family, your studies, your favorite food. It doesn't matter. Don't stop because of mistakes. Don't start again if you make one. Just keep speaking until the minute is over. Then listen to your recording once. Not to criticize yourself, to notice one thing you did well and one thing you'd like to improve tomorrow. That's it. 1 minute, one recording, one small step. Question of the day. I have a question for you. What do you think is the biggest thing slowing down your English right now? Is it fear of making mistakes? Not enough vocabulary? Lack of confidence? Not enough practice? Or something completely different? Write your answer in the comments. I read your comments because I learn from your experiences too. That's one of the reasons I love this channel. We're not learning alone, we're learning together. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one final thought. 2 years ago, if someone had shown me my English today, I probably wouldn't have believed it. Not because my English is perfect. It isn't. I still make mistakes. I still learn new words. I still have difficult days. But I'm no longer the person who was afraid to say one simple sentence. That change didn't happen because I found a secret method. It happened because I kept showing up, again and again and again. Some days I studied for 30 minutes, some days only 10. Some days I felt motivated, some days I didn't, but I kept going, and that's probably the most important lesson I can share with you. Don't wait for the perfect day to learn English. Use the day you have, even if it's only a few minutes, even if all you can do is speak one sentence. Because one sentence today is better than 0 sentences today. And if you keep doing that, day after day, month after month, you'll look back one day and realize something. You've become the English learner you once hoped to be. Maybe not perfect, but stronger, more confident, and much closer to your goals. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. If this episode helped you, I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video. It helps English Flow reach more learners who need encouragement and practical ideas. If you'd like to continue learning with me, subscribe to the channel.
I upload new episodes regularly, and every one is based on something I've genuinely experienced while learning English. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and remember, your English doesn't change in one day. It changes because you keep showing up one day at a time. Goodbye, everyone.